Alright, we are going to make a kind of more complicated GIF now. You can see I got this UFO that sucks up a ball and then leaves, right? So that's what I'm going to do. There's a few new things here, not too much. The one thing you'll notice, instead of looping by copying and pasting the same keyframes, like the last keyframe to the first keyframe to the last, instead I'm using a different looping technique where everything starts off camera. So the ball and the UFO are both off camera. They come on camera and then they leave, right? You'll also notice the other thing happening is that little ray that the UFO shoots out. That is, we're animating the scale, but you'll notice the scale is animating not from the middle. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And then also you'll notice I'm animating the ball disappearing, right? So the UFO is not actually sucking up that ball, right? I'm just animating the disappearance of the ball. So that's really some of the only new things. Also the lights on the UFO animate a little bit. And I think that's about it, right? So you can also download this example because it does get a little more complicated. So I thought maybe it'd be nice for you to have it so you can download it. You can see my dope sheet and how I do everything. I also am animating point lights as well. So you can download that and check it out yourself, and you can see how everything is organized, right? So maybe that'll be helpful to some people to check that out. So I'll do a version of this in this demo. I don't think it'll come out quite this detailed, maybe. I don't know. Let's see. So I guess, and we'll be doing a few other things too, I'll probably mention. Like combining meshes. I should add that, right? Notice we'll combine the UFO with the little top bit. So let's make the UFO first. So we can use that same technique that we used to make the bottles, right? So I'm just getting a circle. E, Z, S. I guess something like that. Nothing too fancy, right? I mean, it could be cool to like look at some reference. I don't know. Let's just do UFO. I don't know, right? There's a ton of different references. I'm gonna just do my simple one, but you know, look at these and maybe do a cool one. I don't know. I think this one's kind of cool and doable, but there's just because there's a few things I want to show you. I just want to make sure that I do it this way. It's fine. E, S, E, and S. I'm doing E and S, and it's not recording. ES0, enter. And then right click. Merge vertices by distance, and you'll see down there, remove 31 vertices. Okay, now the top I'm going to leave blank, and we're going to, let's see what that looks like, shade smooth. Yeah, it's fine. I'm going to do a different technique with the top. And why not, let's add this guy so we get more of a disc. Looks better. Okay. I'm going to go into wireframe mode. I noticed some of you don't know about wireframe mode. It's really helpful, especially at this stage, so you can see behind you. So I got my sphere, and I'm going to scale it. And maybe I want it right about there. That seems fine. Okay, now when I'm in wireframe mode, I'm going to tab into edit mode and delete this bottom half by just selecting it like that. And because I'm in wireframe, remember, it selected the whole thing. Now remember, if I wasn't, and I did that, right, it only selects parts of it. So don't forget that. Huge time saver. Delete the vertices, right, and there we go. Okay, so we got our little top part, shade smooth. Okay, and I guess top UFO body. I think I'm going to show you a slightly different way to set this up than how I have it in the example. If I go into scenes, objects, I can take this top and I can parent it to the UFO body. So now, no matter where the body goes, the top follows. So that's one method, okay? The other method is, so I'm going to go back into view layer, that's this one. The other method is I could select both and do Control J, and that joins them into one object, right? But I don't really need to do that. And keeping them together like this, I think the benefit to that is it's just going to be easier to apply materials, at least in this case. Okay, so we have kind of a cute little UFO, I guess. Maybe I'll make this a little bigger, kind of overlap. I don't know. We'll see. And we can adjust this. That's kind of a benefit too, right? Is I can adjust that later versus merging it. Okay. And maybe, yeah. Let's start adding materials now. Material preview. Uh-oh. Don't crash. Don't crash. So let's say I'll make the body super metallic. And maybe decrease the roughness so it's a little bit shiny. And I'll make the top. I don't know what really make this one. Take out the roughness, make it a little bit blue. Just kind of a cartoony vibe. Okay, so to the body, we're gonna do a few other things. I want to add some lights down here. So I'm just gonna kind of like tediously select every other one. There's some plugins that'll do this quicker, but it'll take you more time to install the plugin and figure it out than just do it. So I'm gonna make a new one. Call this UFO lights, and let's make this a mission, and I'll bump that up to 5 or something, and hit assign. Okay, so now the little guy's got some lights, and wherever I put it, it goes, right? Okay, so there's our UFO. Let's kind of get in there and like try to make a little bit of a scene. Ground. I think ground is just fine for now. Let's just say, let's make this like a desert. Just to have variety. And then the desert has like no roughness, right? So, or no shine. Let's get a camera. It's got a good setup. Cool, and then maybe in the desert we would have some pyramids. So we can use that same thing from the last demo if you remember. I'm gonna take these 4 points and at center, a little pyramid. Is that a pyramid? Pyramids are 3 maybe, I forget. So I just kind of want to like maybe fill up the background a little bit. So I'm just doing G, and then what it's not showing you is the axis. So that was R and Z, G and X, and I'm just using those X's. Please, when I see you guys in class, I see you're not using this at all. And also a lot of you, it seems, are not even using the shortcuts like shift middle click, right? Middle click. Don't forget that. It's pain in the ass to always go up here. Okay, so let's see. I'll use like maybe a slightly different color for the pyramids. Okay, and then I can select all these like this. The first one, just the last one has to be the one with the color we want, and then I go here and copy material to select it, and that'll put it on all of them. Now I could just do a bunch of these too. I don't know. Okay. Maybe let's do SY. There's our ground. I guess this will be like a night scene, so it'll be. I'll add some sky later. Okay. I'm going to take a second and I'm going to save this project because it's going to get a little bit detailed. Make a new folder and I'll call it UFO demo. Okay. And then also I'm going to add in here renders for later. Okay. So here's our little UFO. And then what's it going to suck up? I guess it'll. Let's do. I think just a sphere is fine. Okay. I want this to be kind of like stick out, right? So you can really see it. I guess let's do the opposite. So the opposite of yellow is purple, right? So it'll really stick out. If we give it like a nice purple. And let's make it shiny. Shiny things really stick out. Maybe a little bit metallic. And then let's leave it not shade smooth it so that it kind of like as it turns, right? It kind of will disco ball a little bit. Why not? Okay, and next thing to model, I guess, would be the beam. So I'm modeling everything first, and then we'll animate it once it's all modeled. Let's see. So I guess for the beam, let's do a circle. It's gonna start like right there. Kind of get out of the camera so I can see what I'm doing. And so now we see the ball, so we know the circle has to cover that whole ball. So tab into edit mode, E, Z. Now S to scale, and that looks pretty good. Shade smooth, okay. Now, you'll see, I think, let's see. So if I scale it, scale good. From Z, just go through. I can kind of suck the thing up, right? You could do a few things too, like SX, SY, and keep it kind of like the same size for these purposes. And see, so since I extruded from here, let me show you for a second. The axis point is that little yellow dot. This is going to be the next gifts we make too. We're going to make like a hammer. So that's important for doors, right? It's important where that axis is for how you're animating. Now, if yours is like in the middle, right? So now it's in the middle, right? So that doesn't make any sense, right? Because if I scale it, it's going to scale from the middle instead of from the top, where we want it to look like it's coming out of the flying saucer. If yours is there, that's fine. Just go into edit mode, select everything, and then pull it down to where you want it. So see, there's the access point right there. I can make sure. So if this doesn't make sense, it's not the most important thing in the world. We're going to do it in another assignment later too. Okay. Should smooth it. Alright. Let's move my camera down a bit. That. Okay. So now I think we're ready to start animating. No, we're not. Just kidding. We gotta name things. because it's not going to show up in a dope sheet. Correct, like it will, but it'll be very confusing. Second. I know it's boring naming things, but it just couldn't be more important. So now let's make a new layer. A new collection, and we'll call this scene. And I'm just going to take these things, holding down shift, and I'm just going to say move to collection. Scene. Okay. Cool, so now we can just kind of hide all that if we need to. And I guess the very last thing is let's just add some lights. So it's like a night scene, so maybe, I don't know, we'll mess with the lighting, see what we can get. UFOs come out at night. Okay. So let's do some like more kind of horror type lights. Something like that. Okay. And then just to review it, why not? Let's get an HDRI. And we can get like a cool space one. I noticed a lot of people did not do this for homework. Don't be afraid of these. They help your scene look much cooler. Let's see, I guess this is the most spacey one. Also remember, don't get an 8K. Just stick 4K is about as big as you want to go. I'll just do 2K because seriously, don't need anything that big. Okay, so just please try this out if you haven't yet. If you have done it and you're not into it, that's fine. So I'm going to go to Shade Editor, hit N to get rid of that, World, okay, and rather than the gray background, let's say Node. Oh, that's kind of cool actually, anyway, just with nothing. Add texture, environment texture, connect the color to the surface, open that up, download. Oh, I already have it. It's my favorite HDRI. Okay, cool. So that just helps, right? Bring a little more of a feel. Of course, we're not going to leave that as the background, right? So I'm going to add just maybe like a black. Oh, okay, that's fine. I mean, could be better, but whatever. I'm not going to spend a ton of time. Okay, so you can see what the HDRI does. Not a ton, but it does something. Okay. Sorry, I get really into tweaking lights. I really don't need to be doing that. Okay, now we're all set up in our lighting. Okay, look like that. Might be cool to add some rocks, stuff like that. Let's start animating. Goat sheet. Okay. So let's see. So this thing starts in this position. And actually, sometimes this setting is useful. the options when you hit N. To go to item, and you can see the scale here. So on the Z, the up and down axis, I'm going to scale it to 0. Okay, and now it's invisible. So that's a way to make things invisible. Oh, and you know what though? Also, we didn't texture that beam yet. So let's spend a second. Important. I don't know. Let's make it nice red maybe, but actually no. Let's make it emission. Up the strength, and don't forget we can turn on bloom. That'll help make it glow a little bit. Maybe we want it to glow a lot. Super red. Cool. Okay. So let's see. So scale we wanted on the Z to be 0. Our UFO we want off camera, GY. And our ball also we want off camera, GY. Okay. Now this is a bit visible still. So what we're gonna do is hide it in the render. So with it, the beam selected, we're going to do this to the ball later too. I'm going to go in here, which is a new place we never went to, object properties under visibility, and we're going to turn these all off and keyframe them. So selectable is fine. So show and render, show and viewport, no. So it's gone. Okay. Alright, but our ball and UFO are here. So let's, oh, the UFO, that's right. We started up. So he'll be up there. So I hit it. Oops, I need to set my key. Okay, so there's our UFO. Okay, so let's bring him in first. So maybe for like 20 frames, there's nothing. And then in 20 frames, we'll bring our UFO down, G and Z. And we'll kind of make him go like hover a little bit. So it comes down. Spread that out maybe. So you're going to see me like tweaking a lot just to kind of get this. So maybe we want him to hover like that for a minute. So actually I can take these keyframes, Shift D, and just kind of duplicate them for as long as I need to. Right, so now they'll kind of move around like that. And while he's doing that, let's roll the ball in. So we'll start the ball, I don't know, maybe like right here. So with the ball selected, high. Oops, I did local scale for later, for that beam. Okay, and then so the ball starts here, and let's say it takes, I don't know, a second and a half to roll out, so that'd be 90 keyframes. Just kidding, that'd be 45. So 45 plus 30, I don't know, somewhere around here maybe. This, I don't know. And I'll say GY. Now I also want it to rotate a little bit. Let's see if this works. And I'll say RX, and maybe it does like 359. High. That looks alright. As long as it's moving, right? Okay. So then right there, when it finishes, we want the UFO to then suck it up. So we're going to grab our beam one frame before this. 78. It's invisible. So let's reset that one frame after. Now it's going to appear. Boom. Okay. So see those keyframes there? You can see it all happening. So actually, in a way, we don't need this first one. Right? We just have these two. Gone, then it appears. And notice when it's gone, it's out of the dope sheet too. So now it's there. Have it selected, and let's say it takes 1 second to get down to the ball. So 80 plus 30 be like 110. So maybe, I don't know, maybe that seems too long. Maybe like here. And notice also I have it in the wrong place because I think I moved my UFO. So we're going to go here before we set the location on it and make sure. Yeah, I don't know why it appears there all of a sudden. Let's see, so I'm going to go 7. And just move it. I want it right in the middle. Okay, maybe pull it up a bit. Okay. There, oh, it does appear. Oh, the UFO is blocking it. So then with our beam selected, let's set the first keyframe of the beam, I, and then I'm just going to go down to about here, SZ. Doesn't want to do it, so let's do it from here. Much easier. Goes down to there, I. Okay. You can actually see like a nice wireframe of our animation. Okay. And while the beam is covering the ball, we want the ball to disappear. So here's our sphere. Okay, so we'll do the same thing with that guy. So we set a keyframe here for show and render and viewport. We want both. And then while it's here, I want to turn that off. Okay, now it goes away. Okay, but we can't see that, right, because we're actually in this mode. Okay, so now let's set another keyframe on the beam. So notice that's orange, that means no change. So the beam is down there for that duration of like 6 keyframes. And then we'll suck it back up to give that illusion. Do Z and 0, I, to kind of give that illusion that it took the ball. Right? When we know, now you know it did not. Okay, and then let's do the same thing to disappear that beam. Maybe, yeah, it's fine right there. So we'll go 133, set it, no change, 134, all of a sudden, the beam is gone. Right? So we're almost done. Okay, now we just need to make the UFO disappear. And so it sucks it up. So right about here, add another keyframe to the UFO. Okay. And you notice no change, right? It just kind of stood there. Maybe we'll make it do some things, I don't know, or not, whatever. And now we'll make him go up. GZ. Okay, let's check it out. Now this probably needs a lot of tweaking. So maybe he should stop shaking when he shoots the beam, right? So let's see, UFO body. So maybe it stops there. Object transforms, so no more shaking. Delete those. Shoots the beam and slowly goes up. Maybe we don't want that. So I could take this one and there's just no change for a little bit. While he's shooting the beam, no change. Then he goes up. Okay, so I mean I know this is a lot, guys, but you have now till the 20th to work on some GIFs like this. So hopefully over the weekend I'd recommend just kind of getting this down. Once you get this down, then you can start making your own. But there's just a lot in here to just kind of like play around with what we know so far. So this ends at 163, so I'll make that end. Now let's go through it and just kind of like add some stuff. So one thing is UFOs kind of turn and rotate around a lot, right? So let's make that guy kind of like do that. So I'm just going to kind of set random RZ, make it look a little more like clunky. I think I have to do it on these keyframes. RZ. Right, that really like brings it alive a little bit. RZ, I. Okay, and maybe from here to there, well, it's shooting the beam out, maybe he rotates like a bunch. So I'll go to this one, 127, that keyframe, grab it, RZ, and let's say like 300 degrees. I. So during that whole time he's shooting out the beam, he's like rotating around. Alright, cool. Okay, another thing we can do is those lights on the UFO, we can animate those too. So you can animate materials. So UFO lights. Okay, and we'll start at shoot. Just right click, sorry, I thought that was the one. Right click on the color, insert keyframe, and you'll see that pop up right here, UFO lights. Let's go ahead a little bit, and let's just kind of like give it a bunch of random colors. And then eventually, once we have enough, we can just copy paste. Maybe make it blue. And you can do anything too. I could do the strength as well. But okay, so now we have enough, and we can just take it, Shift D, Shift D, Shift D. Good enough. Right, and now you see the lights are changing too. Every little decision will bring some like character to this thing, right? So, I don't know. Ooh, that's kind of cool. Okay. Right, so I guess I'm just doing this, spending a little more time than normal to show you all, like, don't just like say, okay, good enough, and finish it. Like, you know, spend some time doing something that you can really like be proud of and that has a lot of character. So the same way that I animated the color of those lights, we can also animate the color of our area lights as well. I don't know. Oops. I had some other keyframes selected, so I don't know, maybe this one goes over time from this green to like, I don't know, like a pink. Right, now this has to loop, right? So the first one has to be the last one. So I'll take the first one and Shift D. Right? And so that will, over time, you'll notice the scene kind of gradually changes. Right? Okay, now I could spend another hour making this look cool, but just for the purpose of this demo, we gotta wrap it up. So the first thing is to render this out is GIFs need to be small. So this is right now 1920 by 1080. So let's really shrink that. Let's make it, I don't know, a width of 500 by 200 maybe. 300. I should have done this first because now our camera work might be off, but it is not. We're fine, I think. Maybe I'm gonna go down just a little bit in case that UFO on camera, right? Also, you can always hit, I like hitting this button, that gets rid of all the overlays, so you can like really see what it looks like. Okay, one little thing that's bugging me. With this ball, I should have called it ball, but when it stops, it just kind of stops really abruptly before it gets sucked up. So I'm going to take it and just kind of like rotate it a little bit on the x-axis. So I'll say RX, and just so it like doesn't stop so abruptly. And maybe also we can move it just ever so slightly. Right, just so it doesn't like, see, now it's clipping. I don't know, I should have thought of that before. Let's see, so maybe here, I'll back it up, GY, I. There we go, right? So it's like speeds up, slows down, so it never stops, right? Because why would it stop? So it's a lot better. Okay, cool. Now we're ready to go. And so in my folder, remember I made that render folder. UFO demo, renders, UFO, accept, render, animation. Okay, I'm not going to go in Photoshop and do this because my Photoshop takes forever to open, but you have the demo from Tuesday, which is today. You have that and how to take it in Photoshop and make a GIF. And of course, there's also some online web pages and stuff that'll do the GIF. If you don't have Photoshop, you should use Photoshop. It'll give you the smallest GIF possible, but if you don't have it, it's okay. So also, don't forget, don't go in Photoshop yet until you check what you did. And if something is a bit messed up, go in and fix it and then re-render. This is so quick. This used to take like an hour in previous versions of Blender. Okay, so I can now view it by going to render, view animation. Little guy comes up here, and we can check it out. Great, so it looks good. So I would then say, okay, the animation looks pretty good. Maybe a few things I could tweak. I don't know. I would definitely put some like stars in the sky, some rocks on the ground, something like that. Maybe make like a little alien head pop up behind one of the pyramids, just to give it a little bit of extra pizzazz. Yeah, so that's it. So now save my work and check in the UFO demo. You have all your renders in there. Right, and that's what you would then open up in Photoshop, create a GIF. So, I'll just mention it, even though I'll mention it in class too. Oh, I don't have the right blackboard open. You have until the 20th to make 3 GIFs. So you have quite a while to work on this. So if you're feeling like this is super overwhelming, that's fine. Just take your time with it. Take your time. You have a whole extra week to make 3 GIFs. This can be your first one. You can just copy me if you want, or do your own kind of version of this. And then your other 2 can be literally whatever you want. So we've looked at, we'll look at some stuff on Giphy. So check all this stuff out on Giphy, and hopefully you can get some inspiration. Certainly there's some cool stuff that is not that hard that you can do. Like this, right? Something with these shapes type of deal, stuff like that. Okay, have fun. Thanks.